Hi, I'm Ben Whitaker from Edufuturists and also work at Burnley College, and we're proudly partnering with Mindsight to flip the focus on mental health. It's important to us, to me, to do this because mental health is a real, and mental illness particularly, is a real topic that is close to my heart. I've suffered, I've watched other people suffer and not get the support they need, and I really want to talk about this. Awareness is great. It's all right to just do these mental health awareness weeks and do all these other stuff to grab media profile and all that kind of stuff. But I think we need more than that. So every Monday, I'm one of a number of businesses who care about making positive change and want to tell their story and share insights to kind of really do something that's going to make a difference to themselves and the staff, and then also the people around them, to make a positive conversation the kind of normal way to start every week. So then I'm going to pass the baton on to somebody else, to another business who's going to share their insights. So for those people who don't know me, I'm an educator, was a religious studies teacher for a long time, and worked my way up. I've gone through management and do a little bit of consulting alongside my management now. I run a podcast which talks about the future of education, and I get to speak at lots and lots of national and international conferences, which is amazing. But I had a real battle with my own mental illness, and particularly with depression. Was a workaholic, absolute workaholic, and still struggle with that sometimes now. 80, 90, 100-hour weeks were kind of part of what I did, part of what was normal for me, and I kind of expected that of myself and of others. And it led me to a point of a breakdown. I don't always like using that word, but that's certainly where I had my mind had gone. I was not coping. I didn't feel any worth, and I didn't really, even though I knew I was making a difference in people's lives. It kind of felt like who cared about me. I had a loving family, kids, mum, dad, church, family, all the stuff that went with that, but it just wasn't where I was, and it wasn't great. So I got to a point, and I got to a point really, the lowest point, where I was stood on a motorway bridge and decided that was it. It can't even begin to explain what that encounter is like, but something just stopped me from actually going through with it, and I made a decision at that point. I didn't want to talk to real other people, friends and that, my wife even, so I decided to go to see the guys at Cornerstone Practice, particularly Dr. Sam Prout, can't shout out enough, and she just put it into simple terms for me. She told me what I needed to hear, not just what I wanted to hear, and she said, Ben, if you're an asthmatic, you'd take an inhaler. Ben, if you had cancer, you'd have treatment for that. If you were a diabetic, you'd take insulin. So why would you not get support for illness in your mind? And so I went through some counselling and some CBT, and it even went on to medication for a time. And I can tell you now, I'm not on medication. I've gone through that process. I still don't always get it right, but it's been a battle for me, and I've watched people that I care about struggle with this and not want to get support, and I work with people who struggle at this, particularly at this time in education. Teaching is hard. I know people say, "Oh, you get loads of good holidays," but it's hard, and it's even harder at this time through some of this lockdown and through some of this pandemic, and it's just for me. Knowing that I had places to go, and I think there's no shame in going to see the doctor if that's where it needs to go, but also no shame in being vulnerable and telling people how you are. Love Brene Brown books. If anybody's not read Brene Brown's books, where she talks about rumbling with vulnerability, particularly as leaders, and I think that's really important that we as businesses rumble with vulnerability and lift the lid on shame, and that it's okay not to be okay and to need support. And so I would say that it's really important that as we kind of flip this focus on mental health, and that we think differently, that knowing that it's okay to not have an answer, but just to say that you're there, and also to be the kind of person that listens and doesn't always have to say, I would do this, I would do that. And that's not natural for me because I want to solve problems. That's what I do in my job. I want to solve problems. But it's really important that we kind of flip this focus by just being there, and these things are great. Having a brew or a beer or a chat or catch up with people and just checking in on those people you've not heard from for a while is really, really important. So let's flip this focus on mental health.